The House on the Rock is a sensual experience.
Your eyes will gape at indescribable marvels.
You'll question your hearing, wondering if your ears are trying to deceive you.
You'll come into contact with many objects, some natural, others man-made, and wonder, who made them and how did they get here?
You will stop and literally smell the amaryllis.
And your taste buds will relish the flavors of a bygone era.
The only thing more challenging than trying to choose your favorite part of the House on the Rock is attempting to define what you've experienced.
You ask 2 people.
And you'll get 2 different responses.
You ask 100 people.
You'll get 100 different responses.
All formulated at the House on the Rock located near Spring Green, Wisconsin. The House on the Rock is just northwest of Madison, a short drive from Milwaukee, Minneapolis, and Chicago.
So come along, let's get started.
Let's see what you come up with.
Your tour of the House on the Rock begins in the gatehouse, a cozy, luxurious, intimate room with low ceilings, subdued lighting, windows set at an angle, and Oriental carvings. One wall is dominated by a gigantic, hooded fireplace with husky cauldrons and huge brass ovens. Here you can imagine being warmed by the crackling fire as it heats the surfaces of the massive stone walls. And in the gatehouse, you'll come upon the first of many music machines you'll experience throughout the tour. The gatehouse serves as a foyer to the main house, and as you shall see, has the same innovative design as the house built atop the rock. To get to the actual house, you follow the lazy curves of a 375-foot passage that carries you high through the treetops. Your destination, an architectural wonder perched atop a 60-foot chimney of rock. But first, enjoy your stroll along the flying bridge. Stop and listen to the soothing sounds of nature. Inhale the crisp, clean air, baked by the sun as it rises off the valley floor. Before entering the house, you'll be greeted by the gallery of the bells. Hung and set amid old timbers and live stone architecture that flows with nature. Not your typical doorbell. My house will stand on a rock on a hill, overlooking a valley deep and still with big, tall pines on guard nearby, where the birds can sing and the storm winds cry. The House on the Rock is an architectural marvel sculpted high atop a dolomite outcropping called Deer Shelter Rock. Built in the early 1940s by Alex Jordan, it overlooks the breathtaking panorama of the Wyoming Valley. From atop the house, you are afforded a commanding view of the valley 450 feet below. Some say Alex Jordan designed the house in a Japanese style. Some say the surrounding natural beauty was the blueprint. Some say there was no master plan. All conjecture aside, the only thing for sure is that the House on the Rock is peerless. Canted windows, tilted precipices, all odd angles and flow, stone and wood and glass. It fits, it belongs, it takes your breath away. When I have a house, as I sometime may, I'll suit my dream in every way. It won't be correct or in period style, but oh, I've thought for a long, long while of all the corners and all the nooks, and of all the bookshelves and all the books. The House on the Rock is filled with Oriental furniture and artifacts, sometimes joyous, sometimes startling statuary, soulful art emanating from a sensitive culture. Note the exquisite craftsmanship in this ceiling. Or the detail in the root carving of the warrior in armor. or the delicate beauty of the Oriental screen with ivory inlays. You'll also find Tiffany lamp facsimiles throughout the house. Notice the embellishments of the leaves and flowers on this dogwood shade, the contrast of the black and yellow sunflowers, and the accurate shape of this mushroom lamp. Continuing the stained glass collection is a coffee table of elegant design and harmonious four-season stained glass. As you can see, you can easily spend hours inside the house on the rock, where the rocks are as much a part of the house as the house is a part of the rock. When you are ready to move on, another wonder is in store for you. Another house on the rock architectural marvel, the Infinity Room, thrusts boldly out over the surrounding landscape. Alex Jordan first dreamed of the Infinity Room way back in the 1940s, and the finished project is amazingly close to his original sketches. Construction on the Infinity Room finally began in 1984 and opened the following year to rave reviews. This unique room with walls of glass projects out over the Wyoming Valley 218 feet. A 12-ton bridge joins the house with observation rock. The Infinity Room then dares to protrude without support for another 140 feet. A celebration of architecture you must behold for yourself. The Infinity Room seemingly goes on forever. A glass table provides visitors with a breathtaking view of the forest floor 156 feet below. With 3,264 windows, it is certain that there is no other room in the world like it. You gaze at the house on the rock and wonder what kind of mind could conceive and then build all of this. Alex Jordan, however, lived his dreams by turning his visions into reality in a most spectacular way. A lifetime of other people's experiences allows us to only surmise. But a few aspects of Alex Jordan's personality force themselves into the forefront in regards to the house on the rock. He was often more concerned with effect than value, though he collected some very valuable objects. And sometimes Alex seemed as intent on pulling your leg as pleasing your eye. But what looms most large is that Alex Jordan was a creator of colossal magnitude. Many of the milhouse displays foretell the larger collections later on in the tour. Antique guns, dolls, suits of armor, animated scenes, and music machines. The Milhouse, opened in 1968, boasts an endless fireplace complete with secret room. And what's this? A paperweight collection in a giant bellows? An unusual combination, but tastefully done. And for the gentlemen, there are toy trains and mechanical die-cast banks. A lounge for the ladies features glassware, statuary, and egg-shaped tableau. Stroll into the past of the streets of yesterday, in a town of a few thousand, in a region of hay and corn and dairies and little groves. The town is, in our tale, called the House on the Rock, Wisconsin, USA. But its streets of yesterday is the continuation of streets everywhere. The story would be the same in Iowa or Illinois or Michigan, and yes, even in Minnesota. According to the well-trimmed wags at the barbershop, where lather and tonics mix with local politics and gossip, Streets of Yesterday is the climax of civilization. That this horseless carriage stands inside of Phelps Brothers Manufacturing is proof of this. What the sheriff might say is the law for all of the streets of yesterday. Whatsoever the law does not know and sanction, that thing is heresy, worthless for knowing, and wicked to consider. One view of the wax head of the bad man Joaquin Murrieta and the hand of three-fingered Jack would give any would-be miscreant second and third thoughts. the town's leading citizen, J.P. Richmond, built a house that is the final aspiration of streets of yesterday architecture. J.P. made his fortune the old-fashioned way, import, export. J.P. and the streets of yesterday's other citizens sleep well at night knowing that they are protected by the men and dog at Fire Station Number 1, where fearless and courageous are words they live by. Ferdy Worth's annual lamp turnover, many of them that newfangled electric type, is the envy of merchants in the other counties, which constitute God's country. In the sensitive art of clairvoyance, Esmeralda evangelizes a message with humor, strictly moral. If you have time to spare, wait till the top of the hour. For the clamor of bells from Lorenzo Di Michele's clock store. Feeling poorly? One of Doc Jackson's patent medicines at the apothecary surely is the answer. If not, you can find some other use for it around the home. Inhale the scent of fresh roasted popcorn, a handful into your mouth, and you'll be savoring the blend of tangy salt, sweet butter, and earthy corn. Stop and join the crowd at the end of the streets of yesterday as they listen to the cacophony of sounds emanating from the Gladiator music machine, or stand in awe below the mammoth Bruno steam tractor. Once used to tame wild heartland prairies. Before you leave town, drop in on Grandma. With the cook stove damped and copper tea kettle on the burner, she is always ready to put down her embroidery and socialize over a nice cup of hot tea. So as you can see, streets of yesterday residents don't need to go to the next burg. Everything they could ever want or need is right here on the streets of yesterday. Now be prepared for something big.
Look at that.
Really big. 200 feet big. Longer than the Statue of Liberty is tall. Sea creatures in mid-ocean, suspended in the waves of the sea. Great heavens of creatures in the waters. Old hierarchies. And dreaming with strange creature eyes wide open in the waters of the beginning and the end. Heritage of the Sea was conceived by Jordan, but completed in 1990 after his death. I imagine he would be quite pleased with the results. A 200-foot-long fiberglass sea creature glares ferociously, while permanently engaged in a struggle with an enormous octopus. And of course, in true House on the Rock style, there's so much more. Over 200 ship models, both reproductions and antiques. You just try and tell which is which. Also featured are exquisitely carved scrimshaw. And everything is accompanied harmoniously so by the Octopus Garden music machine. Meet the hub-feld, excuse me, the hub-feld Phonolist Violina Model A. This mechanized wonder performs with all the effects and finesse a human player might employ in a violin, such as staccato, legato, glissando, vibrato, and sordino. In other words, this boy sure can play. The hub-feld consists of 3 violins and is accompanied by a player piano. Built in Germany in 1907, it is one of 11 of the original 250 left in the world. The hub-feld is the only one of its kind on public display in the United States. Recently refurbished, the hub-feld is priceless. We take them for granted, but where would we be without our cherished automobiles? Because of the Chevy pickup, the history and culture of Milwaukee is available to the farmer from rural Baldwin, Wisconsin. The rolling countryside dotted with dairy farms are there for all to enjoy in their Camaros and Astros. Through the use of the automobile, we have broadened our outlook and viewpoint. Now, exactly how a tile car goes about increasing personal awareness is not exactly clear. But along with all the other vehicles and displays in the transportation building, it sure is fun to look at. Many of these rare, unique, and unusual automobiles come from the collection of the current House on the Rock owner, Art Donaldson. But it's not all cars. There are other modes of transportation on display as well. Carriages, such as the Royal Coach, and airborne conveyances like hot air balloons, and airplanes too. Along with the Infinity Room, the Transportation Building is the only other room in the House on the Rock where natural light is the main source of illumination. There's even a window to look out from to get a view of the house. From the amazing Rube Goldberg-style machine to the Burma Shave display, the Transportation Building opened in 1995, continues to combine the House on the Rock themes of fantasy, theatrics, and whimsy. And don't forget to visit the newest attractions, Karen's Music Boxes, and T. Arthur Bookseller.
During the first half of our tour of the House on the Rock, we've seen everything from the Infinity Room to a tile car.
Join us sometime in the future for part 2 of the tour, where there are plenty more enchantments to behold and mysteries to discover.
Will we be visiting the carousel?
Yeah?
Good. I just love the carousel.
As does everyone who visits the House on the Rock.
See you next time.
To order a copy of the House on the Rock Walkthrough Tour Part 1, call 1-608-935-3639. And don't forget to ask about the rest of the House on the Rock video series, including Part 2 of this video, the House on the Rock highlights, and Alex Jordan and his legendary House on the Rock. Call 1-608-935-3639 now.